right? So due to the network disturbance, the class got disturbed, right? So I'll just go through once again the revision, right? So we are discussing about the embedded system components, right? So again, the same class is continued here, right? Okay, so we will be seeing the push button switch. I told you these push button switches are used in the keyboards, right? Which will make a contact inside the circuit, and according to that, the keys are displayed in the on the screen. And these push button switches, they are used in keyboards. Yes, and you can arrange the push button switches in a matrix form. So this is what I have discussed. So the matrix form, you can arrange the keys in a matrix form either in the row or column. So here the row, there are four rows are there and four columns, and again the push button switches can be arranged in the key matrix form. So this is how it is used in most of the keyboard in the embedded system. So next I was discussing about the communication interface. This is also one part of the embedded system. Basically this tells about how the communication happens on the embedded system. There are two types of communications are there: onboard communication interface and the external communication interface, right? So in the onboard communication interface, what are the types we are seeing? Inter-integrated circuit, that is I2C bus, I2C bus, and the serial peripheral interface SPI bus, universal asynchronous receiver transmitter UART, one wire interface, and the parallel interface. So I was just discussing about the I2C bus. So this is most commonly used in the embedded system, and this is synchronous bidirectional half duplex two wire serial interface bus. So that means here both the way transfer can happen, but at a one time the data transfer can happen. That's why it is called half duplex. For this, there are two signal lines are required: serial clock and the serial data line. So here it is the master, multi-master, and the multi-slave transmission device. So this diagram I've explained. Whenever the master wants to communicate with the slave, first it has to initiate the serial clock line. This signal should be made high, and also SDA line should be made low. Then only the transfer can happen, right? Suppose the master wants to send the data onto the it wants to read the data from the slave. Then what happens? First the master will send the address to all the slave. Whichever the slave responds with respect to that address, then the master slave communication will happen, right? So here what the master will do: first the slave will recognize the address and it will send an acknowledgement that it is ready for the transfer. Then the master will send the data on SDA line, serial data line. So this data line, so what happens? It will initiate the read signal, and the slave will also respond back to the master on the SDA line, right? So next bus interface we will discussing about the serial peripheral interface. So this is also most commonly used in the most of the embedded system. So here it is a synchronous bidirectional full duplex 4 wire. So here in the previous you require the 2 wire serial interface. Here you require 4 wire interface, right? And it is a full duplex. At the same time both can talk to each other, but here it is a single master multi-slave system, right? So again it requires 4 signal lines: master out, slave in, master in, slave out, serial clock, and the slave select. So this you can see with the help of this diagram. This is what I was talking about. The master is the who will initiate the data transfer, right? Usually the master will be the microcontroller, and there can be n number of slaves can be connected to the device, right? Again there are 4 signals. The first one is master out, slave in, serial clock, master in, slave out. Suppose a master want to read the data from the slave, first it has to select which slave it has to communicate. So that time the SS1 signal line will be made high, and then SCL line will be made high. Then the data transfer takes place from master to the slave. Then the master will do initiate a read signal on the MOSI, and the slave 1 will respond back in the MIS, so master in, slave out. On this line it will send the data back to the master. So this is what is about the SPI bus which I was discussing. Next we were seeing about the universal asynchronous receiver transmitter. So what is this universal asynchronous receiver transmitter? Here there is no synchronization will be happening for the data transfer. That means there is no clock signals are generated. It is just doing the handshaking. If you are ready, then I will send the data. There is no clock pulses are generated for transmission of the data. So here you can see the data, whenever both the master and the slave want to send the data, what happens? The start and the stop. The start, suppose the master want to initiate the data transfer, first he will put first bit as a start. In that bit, either it may be a 1 or 0. 1 may be indicated by the start. Stop is nothing but a 0. So first that the stop data will be put at the end of the data stream. Start will be put at the first bit, right? And here you can see how what is the UART interfacing here. So this is the two UART devices are communicating. So here the transmission line device of the UART, it is connected to the receiver line of the UART. At the same time, if this UART, suppose if it wants to communicate to the other UART, then it can be connected to this transmission line to the receiver, right? So here the bus transmission happens basically through the handshaking, right? So these are the two embedded device. They are communicating with the help of the UART interface. In both the devices, UART interfaces will be installed, and the transmission line, one of the UART devices connected to the receiver of the other UART. UART other transmission line will be connected to the receiver of the UART. So here there is no synchronization. It is a asynchronous bus transfer here, right? So then we will go to the next one, that is one wire interface. So what is this one wire interface? Because one means there is only a single line is used for the data transfer, and it is asynchronous half duplex communication protocol. Asynchronous means whenever the two devices which are connected on the PCB, if they want to communicate with each other, right, there is no synchronization is there. That means the clock pulses are not generated. Only with the help of the handshaking they are doing the data transfer. And again, it is a half duplex. That means at a time, suppose the transmitter here, he can be a master. He can send the data to the slave, or a slave can send the data to the master. Both the sides cannot, the data transfer cannot happen simultaneously. And here only a single signal line called DQ line is used. And here there will be only a single master, and one or more devices will be connected on the bus. And here for address bus, it is a 64-bit address bus is used for this, right? So we'll try to understand this with the help of a diagram. You can see here who is acting as a master: microprocessor or the microcontroller. He will be acting as a master. With the help of that, there will be more than one slaves are connected. These slaves can be thought of a RAM or the ROM, which are there on the embedded system PCB board, right? You can see there is only single bus line is there, that is called the DQ. That's why it is called one wire single interface bus, right? So usually it is a master initiated data transfer. So master is nothing but the microprocessor. Any data has to be initiated, that transfer care is taken by only by the master. So first he will do the initiation of the data transfer. Suppose if it wants to read the data from the slave 1, then what it will do, that the data transfer will happen through this the DQ line only. So there is only one single interface bus is there on this interface, that is one wire interface, right? So next we will see the parallel interface bus, right? So the parallel interface bus is nothing but the parallel data paths are connected on this bus, right? So the data width, you can see it is can be either 4-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, and the 64-bit. So here again there will be a master and the slave. All in all the bus configuration, there will be a master and the slave. So the parallel communication is initiated by the host processor, right? So again we will try to see this with the help of the diagram. So you can see here who is acting as a master. The microcontroller is acting as a master, and the slave is nothing but the peripheral devices, the devices which are connected on the printed circuit board. Either it can be a analog to digital converter, or the RAM or the ROM, right? And again, here the data buses, the data transmission happens not on the serial way, the parallel bus. There are group of wires are connected. Either it can be a 4-bit wire, 8-bit wire, or 16-bit wire. So parallel bus is nothing but parallelly the data transmission happens through this data bus. And how the data transfer will happens with the help of RD stands for read or write control signal. With the help of this, the data transfer happens through the between the microcontroller and the slave. Then coming to here, the below diagram, you see the address decoder circuit. What is this address decoder? Why? Because address bus is required for in all the buses, because it has to identify whether the slave belongs to the same address or not, right? So whenever the master wants to communicate with the slave, first it will decode the address. So therefore, there is a separate address decoder circuit. You can see in other diagram, other circuits, it is not shown. In all the buses, there will be address decoder, right? So here the address may be 16-bit, 32-bit. Again, it depends upon the processor. So whenever the master wants to communicate with the slave, first it has to send the the address that it wants to communicate with the particular slave. So it will decode that address, and based on that, the particular CS is nothing but chip select. Based on that address, this particular slave will be identified. Then what happens? Either through the RD or the write control signal, the data transfer happens. Usually the microcontroller initiate the data transfer. Suppose if it wants to read the data from the slave, first it will initiate a read signal. Then it will first pass a command, control signal on this read signal. Then what the slave will do? On the write signal, he will write the data or send the data back to the microprocessor. So this is what the parallel interface bus that is used in the most of the communication system. So we just conclude here, right? So today we saw what are the different types of communication interfaces, that is onboard communication interfaces that are used in the embedded system. So in the next class, we will be seeing the external communication interface bus which are used in the embedded system. Okay, thank you.